Top freaks? This is just me, and today we're taking a look at the best calves in the back poses. That, of course, means mostly the rear double bicep, two ways of hitting it pictured here, or the rear lat spread on the right, or potentially also the rear relaxed or others. I was trying to include pictures where they were posing the calves in a similar fashion, showcasing and flexing one of them, but what can you do? Some of the guys just do it a different way. But after all, we're gonna be evaluating the calves on their own, not the whole poses. The list is gonna be in increasing order, so I'll have to wait for the top bodybuilders in this calf region. But still, this list is arbitrary any way you look at it because bodybuilding is subjective. Now, enough preamble, let's kick things off with the first entry, which is a 90s legend Sean Ray. Never the largest set of calves, not the most favorable insertions either, but for sure they're respectable and have decent development and definition. Next is the Oak Arnold Schwarzenegger, 7-time Mr. Olympia, and a very good set for the 70s and 80s. Again, not the biggest, but they stand out and draw your eye in the rear poses because they're nicely defined. Okay, next is Charles Claremont from the 90s. He surprised me quite a bit by having nice calves. Really, pretty good. But he doesn't have a lot of pictures. Anyway. Next, a somewhat unappreciated guy from the 1980s called Rich Gaspari, with some very decent calves. Not huge, but a nice flow with his physique. Rich Gaspari, take note of him, definitely. Now, a guy from today's lineups, Antoine Voyant, who has a great set too. They're big, cut, and well inserted, which guarantees him a spot on my list for sure. A good set from the 1990s, presented here by Mr. Aaron Baker. Kind of an odd shape to his calves, at least to me it looks to be so, but they are greatly developed. I like Aaron's calves from the back, so I put them on the list. Here is Justin Compton, who competed in the 2010s. He's got a very impressive set of calves, very lowly inserted and nicely shaped. Justin is certainly gifted in this area. You can see that clearly in the pictures. Now, a guy from the 2010s, Jason Ha, hopefully I'm pronouncing that all right. As far as I'm concerned, they are very praiseworthy calves on this man, with some awesome size and insertions too. He's not really a household name, but we can't leave him out of this list. Next, kind of a similar set of calves to Jason's belonging to Alexander Fedorov, who competed briefly in the 2000s. Also, as I said, a ton of mass and also a bit better of a shape, at least in my opinion. Now we have the blonde myth, Lee Breeze, back to the 90s and 2000s. A smaller set, I would say, than some of the guys placing below him, but it has such a nice shape to it. And come on, he doesn't have small calves, not even close. I really like the way it flows with his physique, so I gotta have Lee on my list. Again, we have another 90s bodybuilder in Sonny Schmidt, an underrated bodybuilder in my opinion overall. His calves, he's also got it all: shape, size, flow. I like the calves from the rear of Sonny Schmidt. He has to be included as well. Anyway, continuing on is our 7-time Mr. Olympia, Phil Heath, the gift. He's of course from the 2000s and 2010s. Now he's not as gifted in the calf area as in other departments, not the lowest nor the most pleasing to the eye insertions, but he's got some crazy development and the calves kind of jut out at you, so you notice them. This placing I admit might be too high, but he still belongs, right? And I think his calves are really well developed, so I do evaluate it, of course. And now, very conveniently, his biggest rival, Guy Green, also competed in the 20s and 2010s. Guy, I think, has higher calves than Phil, but they're more detailed, and the shape, it just looks better. That's it. Personal preference, I guess, maybe. For sure, good development, more than good for Guy Green. Next in line is the Jurassic Pole Dillette, a giant from the 90s this time. His calves don't have much detail, to be honest, but the sheer size of them I think makes up for it. They just look gigantic and stand out a lot in the back poses, so that's why I gave him quite a high placing on the list. The Frankenstein had some freaky calves as well. Now, Jay Cutler and Mr. Olympia for a time in the 2000s. Good calf development. Not overdeveloped, but they go well, very well with his physique, hand in hand. He surprised me at how good his calves look in the rear poses, not only from the front and side. Jay's calves are kind of just well balanced and nice to look at, I would say. And take a look here at the Mr. Olympia champion from the 80s, Chris Dickerson, who had some outstanding calves. Look at the muscle belly, the shape of it looks great. However, I was only able to find these two pictures because the one on the left and in the middle is the same one, of course. So put a little bit of an asterisk on this one. Now, this is also a sight to behold. That's a much underrated 90s mass monster, Mike Francois. Great development of the calf muscles on this guy. Great shape, I gotta say too. I love the look, and also they're massive. And not lacking in the details as I see it either. Awesome calves, awesome. Here's somebody with some very developed calves, but I feel like kind of a controversial placing maybe. Brent Warren. He comes from the 2000s and also 2010s and has some of the best developed calves, as I already said, but the shape of them is kind of queer. No disrespect to Branch, but I personally don't like the look of his calves. It's on you if you like the shape of his calves. Objectively, I would say they're not aesthetic and I don't find them pretty, but the sight is inevitable. It would be ignorant to avoid him, in my opinion. Here we have a guy maybe cast in a similar mold, a current 2010 competitor Steve Kuklo. He sports a very good set of calves, just jumping out at you when seen from the rear. They're big and also have some definition to them, that's for sure. And that's really what you need to make this list. Now look here at a one-time Mr. Olympia from the 1980s, Samir Banu. The Lion of Lebanon has calves that are nicely shaped, and for the time he competed in, they're also a decent size. I have him so high on the list due to the fact that it's so much of an eye catcher. They have the definition too, so that's also why they draw your eye so much. Or at least my eye, I don't know about you. Anyway, Samir Banu is sure not missing on my list. Here's a 90s guy called Nasser somebody rocking some badass calves in the rear poses. The mass on these is stunning, and he also has the nice shaped muscle belly to boot. That's why I have to include Nasser. Jumping to the 2010s, we have some badass calves sported by the late Dallas McCarver. Dallas has insertion so low that it's almost unbelievable. Along with the size of them, the low insertion points grant him a look that's different from most guys, no matter how developed their calf muscles are. Even the definition isn't bad. I mean, it's not just a blob of meat. It's awesome, just awesome in the calf department. Dallas McCarver, may he rest in peace. We have a very famous set now, possessed by a 90s mass monster, six-time Mr. Dorian Yates. The shadow had some low insertions too, and the shape, in my opinion, is better than what we saw with the previous guys. A great large standout set of cows. This is on the shadow. From behind, it looks so magnificent. Now here is Flex James Lewis, who finishes 5th on the list overall. This means we're only gonna see 4 more guys after him. He's a 2010 era 7-time Mr. Olympia of the 212 division with very good low favorable insertions. And he has the meat on there too, so in proportion to his body, which is not as large as someone like Dorian or Dallas, the calves are humongous and quite a standout feature in the back poses. I do praise Fox Lewis for one of the best, if not the best, sets of calves in the game today, if he comes back, that is. But anyway, here are some badass calves by Mr. Tom Platz in the 4th place position. For the 80s primarily, this is amazing stuff. Now with Tom, it was difficult for me to find a spot for him on this list because of the way he's posing. He's just standing straight, not with one leg bent to display the calf in a different manner. So what can you do? We just have to evaluate the calves the way they are here. But I reckon they would look even better if he displayed them the more conventional way, like today's guys do. Anyway, his calves can hold their own to his huge upper wheels, and the detail, shape, everything is there. And it would stand out in the post no matter how he strikes it. He has to be on here, the Golden Eagle, Tom Platz. And in 3rd, we got a jumbo size, gigantic set of calves on the house, Eric Fanghauser, a guy competing in the 2000s and having one of the lowest sets of calves ever. Not much definition in the muscle of the calves, admittedly, but are they ever huge? They completely overpower his upper legs and the upper body too, for that matter. It's terrific how big the cows are here, so dominant. But it's so much that even makes him look less impressive overall. So that's the reason why he doesn't outright top my list. But come on, this is just astonishing when you see it for the first time. Here in the 2nd spot is the Pac-Man Ben Pekulski, a competitor from the 2010 era with some awesome wheels and calves in particular. This is also so impressive. The size is there, the definition, and the beautiful, beautiful shape. The reason he's higher than, for example, Eric Fankhauser is that it makes him look better, undeniably. It flows well, actually, with the rest of Ben Pekulski. It's almost unbeatable, nearly a flawless, perfect set. We only have one guy that impressed me more than Ben, and that is indeed also arguable. But my winner is here. It's Mike Matarazzo, the best set of calves from the rear as I see it, and possibly overall the best set too. Mike is one of the most beautiful, if I can say that, shapes to his calves. Maybe not from the side, I sometimes find them kind of odd from the side, but straight on like this from the rear, it's incredible. I mean, take a look and analyze. Is there anything wrong with Mike's calves as they are here in these photos? If yes, then I don't see it. To me, it's flawless. It stands out but doesn't overwhelm his physique. It plays his strength. They're not the lowest, but they're low enough for sure. The definition is supreme as well. In my opinion, Mike Matarazzo is awesome and superior to anyone else as far as the calves go, at least in the back poses. So, what do you guys think of this list? Did I miss anyone that deserves to be on here? And do you agree with my placings? Let me know down in the comment section below. Thank you for that. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to watch some best calves videos and also like and subscribe. Enjoy the rest of your day.